Welcome back to Baited Expectations. We just had a little break from the first episode because we had a lot of content to get through, and we are moving into our new topic of Harvest going core. Let's go to Brittleknee, I think, for first reactions on this one.
The harvest thing was cool because, like, between KittenCatNoodle and I, we completely shot-called that bad boy. The way it was implemented, this was something that I think we talked through in a previous episode, and
We
almost
did.
verbatim is how it's been implemented, so that was really cool. Like, I'm not gonna say that they heard us, but it's really cool that we were thinking in the same, like, lanes that they were as far as, like, their design. It means we both have a pretty cool understanding of the game, and I think that's cool. When you have the same idea of the game designers, it feels awesome.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, man, we nailed that." Exactly. With, like, the
Yeah.
predetermined, seeds already being planted, you have to pick things, you can save a few crafts that it's going to be, uh, consistent, like, the crafts are going to be consistent,
And we're still getting her boss fight, which is all
yeah.
expected.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really cool. I think it's a good implementation of it. I'm really surprised to see, at least so far, no word or whispers whatsoever of any of the crafts being tuned down or being removed. I think
Yeah.
that hopefully with the scarcity and the fact that you can only choose 10, um, will help sort of maybe they feel like that's properly balanced. I mean, like, time will tell, of course, if this is like, the correct amount of gating on that level of power. I think it should be, and I think it could be. Um, I'm gonna miss the tier 3 or the tier 4 fights. I really, really enjoyed those more than I enjoyed Oshabi, so I hope they show up at least somewhat regularly, at least in red maps. Maybe they're like the red beasts and they're gated to, like, the higher tier maps, kind of like we talked through. But yeah, I think overall it's a very clean system, a very clean way to implement, like, the sort of, like, heart of Harvest itself, and there's gonna be some crafts I'm gonna be really happy to see again and save and be excited to save them.
Noodle, do you want to jump in?
Especially after Endless Delve, I'm so ready to go back to crafting. I'll never abandon you again, crafting bench, but then also I feel like I don't know if they would have mentioned if there's crafts that are going to be taken out, or if there's crafts that's going to be added. We don't really know in terms of what the craft pool is going to be, but I think it's a great way to implement it and having it not only have a chance to show up, but then also having the region ascendancies with increased chance to have the Oshabi fight. Um, in general, I think the implementation is probably the best that we could have hoped for in terms of they took out the redundancy or just sort of monotony of having to organize your own garden by just having it all there and already planted. And really, your choice is just what are you going to harvest? What battles can you handle? What crafts do you want? And then I guess the real question, which 10 are you going to keep on your station at a time?
Dude,
That's the
that
Yeah.
real
10.
challenge.
And I mean, even if you're not into crafting, this is a great implementation for it as well because you just keep a couple of bases around, you burn your crafts, maybe you make like a really nice energy shield chest piece that it will sell just because you hit high ES markers. Maybe you throw Conqueror's Exalt on it and throw it on the market or something like that. For casual crafting, it still opens up like a variety of possibilities. And then if you hit that really good craft, you save it and sell it. So, like, even if you don't like harvest crafting, the potential for even just like making a little side chaos and
Oh,
potentially unlocking some like nicer crafts too is definitely here.
I was saying the other day that um it'll be like when you go in there and you find switch influence to influence, that's like finding an exalt. That's like pure
Yeah.
exalt you could just save and then sell to somebody if you want, right? Like that's a couple that'll be pretty nice. That
Yep.
like if you're not a crafter, that's just a nice find for some extra cash, but 10 is not enough. Like what if I want I need a bench dedicated to gambling and then a bench dedicated to actual crafts.
That's the real nerf to harvest crafting, isn't that they're going to change any of
The
the
fact that you
actual
can't have
availability.
2 quad tabs of
Yeah.
fucking benches saved.
I just
Honestly,
like
I couldn't
I ideologically
necessarily handle
disagree
it.
with the thing, but like honestly, if Val needs to gamble, if PoE players need to gamble, I'd rather you guys gambled in PoE than gambled with real money.
Well, that's it, right? I'm just wasting my time, and that's way better than real money. That's like the worst. Or sometimes I'm winning, and then I'm not wasting my time because I won, and it's the greatest game of all time, and it's the best. You know, that's how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. So yeah, I mean that card gamble, I literally almost had a mirror. Like I had hundreds of exalts, and then I lost every card. So
Oh my god.
I feel like you're the poster child for this fucking gambling thing. It's so
I know.
good though.
Do we need
It's
to have
true,
an
it's so good.
intervention?
You might have to. Like I literally traded in over 10 immortal cards, so I had extra immortal cards, and then I traded up those immortals to get like 7 mirror cards, and then I lost them all. I lost them all.
I'm just picturing
All
because you
of
said
them.
do we have to have an intervention? I'm picturing like the intervention sign from How I Met Your Mother and like making a scene based on that and then putting all of our cams in it. And then like BK's little like infinite
I
coffee
would say
sipping thing.
keep that like on deck, you know, just in case.
All right, well, I'll
Let
make
me
that
just
for
say-
next episode.
Side topic
I'd
though.
sit in the corner and just sip my coffee and be, tell me how this makes you feel. All right, now tell me how this makes you
I
feel.
feel really good.
Do you feel like that's appropriate?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think you hurt others with this behavior?
only myself.
Oh god, we should do
Really.
special episodes of Baked Expectation skits. Oh, that would be so good.
Oh my god, it was just it was absolutely nuts. But side topic, those new orbs, which I don't know if I'm even going to obtain them, but isn't that the ultimate new best gamble I've ever heard of in my life?
Yeah,
I'm
so okay,
ready.
question.
I have so many
Is
questions about it.
10 caps
Yeah.
is 10 caps compensated for with the Maven Orb? Is it
No, because that is the biggest YOLO. So you got Tailwind and Elusive, let's say, right? And then one of those is going to go. And then how is it going to buff the other one? And is it worth it? And like, you know, let's just, there's so many. It's so cool. I don't know. That orb is, I'm going to ruin things.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get the intervention done.
my question for that orb is like I've never seen like a conch orb in my gameplay. The only way I know of acquiring one is through trade. Is it going to be the same? Like the only way you get a Maven Orb is trading?
Well, since
Not
it's only
only,
gonna
but
be
yeah.
through her fight, it completely depends on how hard it is to get to that fight and how
Mhm.
often it drops in the fight. You know, if you're guaranteed one per fight, then it's not going to be that difficult, but I doubt it. It's probably going to be about as rare or more rare than an orb drop from a conqueror fight. So,
God, I want to craft some shit with that thing. Like, you know what I do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take up gambling too.
Do it. It's really fun.
Puny,
see
the
this?
only place where this is an acceptable sentence. I'm going to
Yes.
take up gambling.
Yeah, exactly. It's really great in Path, particularly. Outside of
all I
Path,
want to do is play.
I know. I'm so ready for the orb gambles. I'm ready to look at my 10 crafts and harvest and be like, oh no, what am I gonna get rid of? Oh my god. You know?
Cut to a clip of you like rocking in a corner behind something, crying like I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm so indecisive. I'm just feeling I it hasn't even happened yet, and I'm like, oh, I'm anxious. Hasn't even begun.
Oh, I
man.
can't believe like it's in a week too. Actually, do you know what? This is yeah. We'll come back to that. Did everybody talk about Harvest reaction? I didn't say my bit, but I think I asked everyone else, right? Okay, cool. So there's probably two ways that I could have seen it going down, the way that you guys predicted, and which is what they've done, and it makes more sense because, you know, GGG loves to introduce lore and like they hate like pulling back on content because they spent 3 months developing it, basically. So that as much as retaining as much of what they already gave us as possible, it makes sense. But like maybe how I would have liked to see it go down is like, fuck, I could have gone without Harvest. I could have just, you know, enhanced bench. would have been fine with me. Like, personally, I have no real attachment. Like, the only thing that I would miss is what BK mentioned, which was the like tier 4 seed fights. They were kind of cool. But I don't care for the garden. I don't care for the mechanic or the theme. Oshabi is cool as fuck. She's gorgeous. I'm interested in her as a character. But the fight is boring, so she's kind of a letdown in that sense. So, and then I have no sentimental attachment for Harvest at all. So, like, yeah, it's fine. I think what my reaction is, I can live with that. Which, you know, is more than I was anticipating. I've been dreading it. I have literally been waking up with dread in my chest, like the heaviness of being like, Harvest again.
Because they said slightly change it, right? So you're like, what does that even mean? Right? It was the slightness. I'm honestly more molding about Heist than Harvest.
Yeah,
Harvest
let's
coming
go
back
into
and the way it's
Heist.
coming back, I'm like, okay. But Heist, dude, the fact I still gotta level these guys, did they say that they're gonna be all tagged to the same character? Do I have
we
to
gotta
find
do all
them
those
again?
gear things?
I'm just sick of it. I'm actually just like, I wish that it would be similar to Harvest. You know what? You just find a heist in the map, you go in it, you run it, you're out, it's done. Like, I'd much rather do it that way than ever having to level
as you
these
do it, you
dudes,
meet the
gear 'em,
rogues.
etc.
Yeah.
But I know they gave them a lot of lore and stuff, so I feel like you kind of have to.
I
something.
really love Tyne's suggestion. We haven't talked about it here because before it came up, but he basically said, like, we don't need contracts. And I was like, okay, keep the green quest contracts, use those to introduce the different rogues. And then, like, the currency thing that drops, like, you get rogue markers and you get blueprints, and you get blueprints from doing your current, like, your first contracts, and then blueprints beget blueprints. That's how I do it. Or stashes. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. I don't think that's how they're doing it, right?
I would have. I mean, I think the harbor is kind of neat because we've had other areas launch campaign stuff before. Like Synthesis was a completely removed area that then launched its like map equivalent thing. But I would have gotten rid of rogue levels and like baseline buffed all of the different like abilities so that like in general it just goes faster. And then like no rogue equipment. Everyone's automatically level 5 or whatever. No rogue equipment.
Maybe trinkets for you though.
Yeah, like I guess you can keep the trinket too, sure.
Sure.
People want those exalts, you know? Gotta print those exalts.
They do.
But yeah, I would have just like completely streamlined the rogues, got rid of their gear, got rid of their levels, and then just like maybe you do the introductory quest to unlock them, and then that's like pretty much all the maintenance Heist needs aside from farming the content. Like farm the markers from the normal ones for the big ones, and then that's it.
I feel like even though like we're gonna drop Heist stuff in bigger stacks, and I'm like, just drop one stack when there's less than 50 mobs left.
Yeah, just one stack maybe. No, but
it diminishes the significance of the loot if you only have to pick up one thing.
Yeah,
you don't feel the weight of the items, guys. You have to pick up those 4 coins 16 times. Or you won't know how valuable they are.
They're worthless to me. You know where they go? The garbage.
Selling markers is actually pretty good money.
Yeah.
Are y'all gonna run Heist? I mean, are you going to run Heist?
Depending on the Heist have like they have the value of the marker item that you're going after. And so if you just like save up a bunch of precious and priceless Heist missions and run those, you get like buku markers and you just like sell them all off.
That's yeah, and it's not that bad because they do. I mean, if they don't nerf the XP that you get, if you can still fracture them, well, they're still going to be like the best way to get loot as far as I can see. So
yeah, but if
be one of the biggest
money
makers.
Balanced, would you
balanced?
If it wasn't the best way.
Run Heist, although I do completely wish that it was like if you pick up a contract in a map that it's more like streamlined, right? Like you do it then or you drop it and then you don't have to worry about it. And I really wish they would get rid of the equipment. It is so much garbage.
It is. It's so dumb.
It's so much
It's
stuff. Like, you just don't need that much stuff, and maybe if they even limited it to you're only going to get items that, if they're all already level 5, okay, now you're only getting the level 5 ones. That would still be better than having to go through all the
yeah.
different levels of them and all the different potential roles and, "Oh, I have to make sure that I match my projectile attack damage one with the people who do projectile attack damage," and now I'm having to look at a table of who does that because it doesn't tell me that in game for some
It
reason.
doesn't.
And, like, why
It
would I know?
doesn't.
They're not doing damage. Are you kidding me? They're sitting in a corner, like, bashing some guy's head in, but, like, taking 20 minutes to do it instead of opening this stupid door. I
It
would
is
I
They
don't know.
they
my
wanted
job
to
to do
test
damage.
companions, but then like
Mhm.
every time there has been a companion in this game, like Einhard, these guys, is it Tora when we did the Tora quest, she ran around and did stuff too? Or did she just stand there and laugh?
And she was just like, "Yo, this cave here, go get him, tiger." And you're like, "All
Yeah.
right." And then the big cricket would stomp chaos puddles on your face, and you'd be sad.
Or you get that molten shell destruction
I
from
did
the
like the shooting a
gorilla.
fish in a barrel thing though.
Like, oh, they have molten shell.
Like they're just always so inconsequential. They don't impact.
Einhard can help a lot when you're leveling and you're like,
Yep.
"Hey,
He's
let's
fine when you're
go
leveling, but
beat
then
up
afterward it's
this
like, yeah,
boss."
dude, you're supposed to be able to do that shit yourself now. Like
I used Einhard to help me kill Weaver in the gauntlet race. I'm like, come on, let's go, buddy. Let's go together. Because it really does help. He like legit Weaver hits you one time, you're dead, and he's just like, invincible. So yeah. Yeah, but they have had issues. I mean, that's probably why they were testing the follower UI. The biggest thing is that there's no reason for any of those rogues to ever do damage. I'm the damage dealer.
Ever.
You hire me for damage, right? That's what I'm the muscle.
That's the
You know?
Yeah.
whole deal.
Yeah.
And that goes
That's
back
what
to
I'm
the way
supposed
the
to do.
companions are handled in D3 as well, which I thought was one thing that
Mhm.
game actually did right, was that they had a variety of utility that they brought. Like the enchantress did some CC and stuns, and then the other guy
Mhm.
had like a heal, or if you got in a bad spot, he could heal you really quickly. And I don't remember what the crossbow guy does. Nobody fucking used him. Maybe like some attack
Nah.
speed or some shit. I don't know.
He
But
was a
like
nice
that
guy
would be
though.
cool. Like I thought it would,
Mhm.
like something along that lines would be way cooler for companions than what we got.
Yeah. And another totally random thing, but my poor chaos orbs suffer by making them gear. They suffer. I'm running out of chaos trying to craft gear for these guys I don't like. It's
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
I had such a
You can burn all
finite number
those
of
shitty
alks.
harvest crafts crafting your fucking heist gear.
Your heist gear on oh my god.
Oh, weird.
Mm-hmm.
What does this world
Mm.
come to? I quit.
Jeez. Oh god.
All
No.
right.
Yeah, they should have got rid of the gear in their levels. And I think
Yeah.
the rest of it, like, okay, I guess.
Also,
But the
did
I
gear,
anyone
mean, we
get
just have so many systems that have like gateways to unlocking different things. And if they're going to continue to implement these systems, they need to simplify it because there's only so much time and attention span that people have. I mean, there's always going to
Mhm.
be the completionists that are going to unlock everything no matter what. But a vast majority of us, like, am I doing like chores around the fucking house or am I playing a video game?
yeah.
And like, there is a limit to what this has to be. Like, the unveils feel bad. The unveil system should be buffed.
Mhm.
Like you should unlock stuff a lot better with bad luck protection in unveils. There
Mhm.
shouldn't be follower equipment, or maybe, or if there's follower levels, like say let's get rid of equipment and keep levels, then the levels should, like, I should do like maybe 5 to 10 contracts and that guy should be 10, like, or level
Yeah.
5, sorry, like no matter what. Like I should not have to do an excessive amount of content for this side content.
So the thing
Yeah.
with the levels is like, I don't know. That's in my head. I really only associate them with how much damage you can do. Like I know that like other skills are attached to them for the rogues, but because they don't do any damage, like from a conceptual design point of view, I just don't get why they have them.
The
Like-
levels are also congruent with like how fast certain jobs go.
No, I
so like if it's a
understand that. I just don't really.
they should normalize all of it is what it should, like,
Yeah.
no matter what, like they should normalize the amount of threat generated so there's no need for threat generation items. They should normalize the amount of time until lockdown so there's no lockdown required items. they should normalize all of the skill stuff so there's no reason for skill levels. And then, just let us grind their XP up just like old masters and be done with it.
I feel like the levels were just a gate for completing certain contracts and blueprints. Like, oop, this requires level 4 or 5, and you don't have any
Yeah.
of those
Do
people,
we
so I
need
guess you
that
can't do
gate?
it yet. Which I don't.
I thought, like, the
I didn't feel
gate should have been
benefited
the
from having
fucking
higher
monster
levels.
level. The gate is that. Like, if your character
Right, that's
isn't
what it
strong
should
enough,
be.
you fail. Duh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the concentration of rares and stuff were certainly deadly enough for that if you went into like an I level 83 area or something like that and you weren't ready for it, you got hosed.
Yep.
So then why would
Yeah,
you
your
need to
rogue
gate it
level
with
isn't gonna help
with
you.
job level requirements?
Yeah, like thank
It's
fucking God he had
overkill.
this level 5 hatred on. Oh, wouldn't
Oh,
have done it
thanks,
without
Huck,
it.
for coming with me. Giving me what? Giving me what now? I don't even know. It's it's so yeah. I feel like with Heist, maybe next week we get a better iteration.
Oh, I was gonna ask, did anybody get any uniques from doing heist bosses that would be worth chasing or like trying to do that again?
Nope.
There's
didn't.
one.
I did a lot of them. I got like the same drops every time I did the bosses.
Oh.
Yeah, same pretty much. But there is
Okay.
one.
Oh shit,
What
sorry.
is
Go
it?
ahead. Oh. I think it's called the Expedition. It's a chess piece that all your hits freeze.
Oh,
so it's
yeah,
really
that one was
interesting.
wicked cool.
Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't
That
get
one's
that.
like, yeah, it's very cool, and it's like I actually just bought it to have it, but I've never actually found it, and I can see that being really, really interesting defensively. Except, but I don't know. I don't like other than that one.
I had
mm,
like 5 of those Admiral chess pieces or whatever that dropped from I think the Faustus one, and I was like, this has dropped every time I've done this. I'm not
yeah,
gonna do this one anymore. So I usually like to chase things like even if I didn't like Heist, I would want to try to get the boss contracts. But when there's not even a good unique and it's such a pain in the butt to get there, I just don't see myself
Yeah.
caring.
no. I'd much rather do Grand Heist for unusual gems because so many of them are interesting and cool and good.
Yeah. We're still gonna have alt skill gems, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
all
you're kind of
that's still in
seeing
there.
into
uniques and base types and all
yeah.
that stuff.
So my
All that
one
stuff is
build
going
uses a
cool.
replica for rules, and I'm so happy that it's still in the game. It's expensive, but I mean, frenzy or endurance charges, frenzy charges, just with aspect of the cat, like yes, it's so good. So good. I'm so happy it's staying. It's probably gonna cost even more now, but I don't even care. It's just so nice. It's like,
Yeah, let's talk about items from Heist for a sec here because I think it's pretty important. I think I'd like to revisit an earlier rant of mine, which is that cluster gems are not inherently delirium and should not be delivered specifically only through delirium. And I believe the same for alt quality gems or jewels, or whatever they're called. One of the two.
I mean, you don't think they're specifically heist and that they shouldn't be gated towards to heist?
There's nothing lore-wise that tie them to Heist. There's
They're
no
just
like flavor
fancy.
text or anything. They were introduced
No.
through Heist, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, they are simply another form of core game item that you can get just walking through a map.
It would be much nicer to just have them drop off like blights and whatever, just have them
There's
riddled
nothing
throughout the game.
Heist about them. And I think it comes back to this discussion that keeps happening in the office that Chris alluded to in a Q&A with Ziggy when he talked about how Delirium was going core, which was like, someone convinced me that there needs to be an item that is specific to the league that drops as a result of the league and doesn't drop elsewhere. And then I was like, okay, but then you take that and you put those league specific rewards as a reward mechanism that comes from other league content. Is it then unique from that content? I mean, we still have this issue where incursion is not the way that you get incursion stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it just sort of keeps compounding. And the same problem is going to happen with this Heist stuff. Like, if Heist is, I mean, it's harder with Heist, I think, because there's no like Heist specific rewards, but we just haven't seen it yet. Like I don't know. I'm just real skeptical of it as a
They could
justification.
definitely take out a couple blueprint types, and I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't bat an eye if they listen. We got like different blueprints, like 2 different ones for each thing. Actually, I think the trinkets and currency have 3 different blueprints, right? Instead. And then there's the unusual gems, etc. And I just think that, yeah, there are certain things like maybe the replica uniques always inside Grand Heist because there's special. But those other ones, yeah, they could just. I mean, I guess the trinkets too, but not even really. I mean, it's just a bunch of currency and some rando trinkets, right? All right.
Get why they're there, because I do think there's not an explicit connection between the people making replicas, but it's sort of implied that they're trying to make copies of these original items, just like how uniques are made. They're probably trying to make copies of gems in a similar way, even if they don't have flavor text that tells us anything about it. I just don't want to have to do blueprints to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather
think-
they just
but
drop
you
naturally
can tie
somewhere.
like there is a way that you rewrite it so that it makes sense for it to be found in under other circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
they could.
what I wanted to pose like in relation to that is, are we just getting shit uniques from every league now? Like the unique that comes, because is the problem that the uniques are so underwhelming that the only like the things that really make a difference to the player are actually just other things they experimented with, and because they were introduced during that challenge league, they have to stay with the challenge league, because otherwise the identity of items that just are acquired at all is just boring. The league itself loses its interest.
I don't think every single unique needs to be good, and I think it's okay that it's not. They're just
But like a
gateway
whole
stepping
league's worth of
stones to other
uniques?
types of gear. And I mean, if maybe they should cut back, because at this point in time, there's like a lot of different uniques. So like introducing like a handful versus a bunch for sure. But yeah, like I don't feel like every single one of them, even in a league itself, necessarily have to be impactful. Like I think that is okay. And I mean, all you have to do is play SSF once to appreciate a brisk rep from time to time. So, I mean, there's definitely a market for people that really, like to some people, all uniques are good uniques, and I think to like remove that from the game would be bad, or to
No,
like
I don't want to
stop
remove them from the game. I'm not saying
adding
that,
them or
but
something like that would be bad.
I feel like
there
that's
are some
loosely
that could
related
just
reason.
go, though. Like I feel like there are there's just an insane number of uniques in the game, and most of them are trash, and that's generally fine. I agree with you that trash uniques to have their place. I mean, sometimes I wear there's this ring. What's it called? Oh, what's it called? I don't remember. It just came in this league. It's like a rarity ring, and it drops a lot, but it's actually kind of dank. It's pretty nice for leveling. I can't remember its name for the life of me right now.
The Highwayman?
Highwayman. The Highwayman. Yeah, it's legit.
Thanks,
it's legit.
Stone Eyes Rex.
It's a really fine. It has like no life. It's a rarity ring, but it gives you damage leeches life when you have at least 5 total endurance frenzy power charges, and your total recovery per second from life leech is doubled. And if you're a character that doesn't have like any life leech and you're looking for ways to survive and things like that, then this, and it's got move speed, and you have charges, like this is a legit ring. This is a really nice leveling ring that costs about 1 elk, and it's generally pretty trash. You can corrupt a lot of them, try to get something better on it, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's like I can use this versus like I have to use this is the way I feel about uniques.
Yeah. There are like, unless your build's going very specifically towards that, like certain unique, but yeah.
I don't disagree. It's more along the lines of, are they trying to compensate for like a whole league's worth of uniques being inconsequential? Not I can use this, just inconsequential. Because I feel like for a while now, there's just not a lot of uniques that are memorable to me.
That's true.
And then, like, Chris literally introduces the new uniques. He's like, they occur very rarely because they really improve your character. And I was like, I don't think I agree with you anymore. I feel like that I don't think you're right there. They're not rare enough. Like, sorry, there is just a huge amount of uniques available. So that specific unique is possibly very rare, but when you like put them behind a particular mechanic and they're only acquirable through that mechanic, and then it has no synergy, or yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's there's a way to tweak it.
It does feel weird that all the uniques that are behind heist bosses, especially the ones with the twins, that like they are not really game-changing, build-enabling uniques.
Yeah.
Like a unique that's just introduced into the world, if that has, you know, a completely niche or is inconsequential or would just be kind of nice to have and doesn't really have any, it's not like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, I need that.
Yeah.
But when it is locked behind really difficult to acquire content, you're like, oh, that's one alk. Cool. You know, I found something apparently equivalent on the coast, right?
Yeah.
It does feel a little weird. I think it's the gating that's the issue, right? Not that it's the unique itself. But.
Yeah, so like these uniques are gated behind this specific type of content, but there's no real reason why I want to get them. This happened with Harvest, this happened with Heist. I'm pretty sure it's happened with previous leagues as well.
They usually always introduce a few uniques behind the league that they're doing. Pretty much every league has a couple of uniques to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
replicas than any of the boss uniques.
That's why I believe that they're never
the work done on ascendancies or whatever that ties in with that league, like make your item synergize with what you're trying to push. Not all of them, one of them.
Yeah.
And have
one
that
big, well, like look at
play into the meta that you're creating.
Look at they kind of did that, like Synthesis has the bottled faith. Everybody wants a bottled faith. You
and
do
how
damage,
long ago
bottled
was
faith.
Synthesis?
800 years ago.
No, it's been ages since we've had a really good unique come through.
It feels like a while. It was like, it was so long ago, I feel. What was it? 2 years ago, maybe? Like just almost or something?
Yeah, because
like
this is right when I moved, and it wasn't a very popular league, and I was like, shit, like I moved because I was doing good. Crap.
Yeah.
How am I gonna pay rent now? Because nobody wanted to play or watch it. I was like, shit,
So
I
bad.
have made a mistake.
So true.
Yeah, this was not the time. Exactly. It was just such there was a league with a lot of problems. I look back on it now and I'm like, yeah, it was all right. But at the time, I also
at the
mauled it as I
time that
played
was
it.
Oh, you know what great
Synthesis.
unique was coming from Delirium? Fucking unique cluster jewels.
Yeah, I mean Hollow Palm, because of that one has been my favorite cluster jewel ever. I might do a Hollow Palm starter this league just because it's so good.
I want to say right now, I don't even like the cluster jewel concept all by itself doesn't smack of Delirium to me. It just happened at the same time. And
they're just like, we got to give them something. Give them jewels.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it does. Yeah. That. I feel like I've made my point anyway. Does anybody want to respond to my point?
I understand what you mean, is that a lot of things that they put in, a lot of the uniques feel worthless and not worth our time, or disjointed from the actual content itself for what it does. So I completely get what you mean, but I'm also so adjusted to that being the way it is for like every league that I'm like, yeah, it's just they just do that.
I'm triggered because Chris said what he said though. I'm triggered because of Chris. Like I'm not like I'm disillusioned as much as the rest of you, but I'm pissed because Chris was like, this is great.
Listen.
And I was like, bruh.
Chris Wilson, if you're hearing this, I gotta say, he likes Talisman League. It's his favorite. So we know where Chris stands, okay?
Oh, called out.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm calling you out on this one. Talisman was questionable league, okay? It was very questionable. So I played it a lot. It was questionable. All right. So not every unique has a place. Sometimes that place is just the 14 elk shards that I get for it.
I think so
That's how
often
it
too,
is.
like the power, relative power of unique, like some are just objectively good no matter what, like Bottled Faith, but then even depending on what league you play, greatly
Mhm.
enhances the potential value of certain uniques. Like something that could be
Ooh.
trash in like, you know, a softcore league because who clicks life nodes anyways could be like the, you know, the cornerstone of like the new meta of defensive
Yeah.
layers and hardcore and just like, you know,
Oh, absolutely. And
This
they can make
sentiment.
some change. The Vol's devotion, right? Like, didn't people hate that? And now, like, then it had like this. No, not Vol's devotion. The chess piece. Wait, maybe it is the devotion. No, that's the necklace. There's that chess piece. And like everybody didn't really care for it. But then there was one league where that chess piece was like you got a 6 link of that chess piece that's normally worth like a chance orb, Vol's Protector. And people were just all about wearing Vol's Protector for like at least 2 leagues of it, and then it went back down to irrelevancy. But it had its time to shine, right? Like it had its moment during that time, like maybe 5 years ago or something like that, right? Like it
maybe
had
it
it.
correlated with old discharge or something.
May that does sound very familiar. But it was like it used to have this level of like, oh yeah, you got a 6 link of this, it's worth big money. Anything else, it wasn't that great. And then it just fell out of favor. But it that's like a one elk unique that rose to greatness for a moment. You know, it had its time. It was great. Yeah. So I they could take things that like maybe wait, brisk wrap turns into wild wrap, and wild wrap is actually like the greatest for deck stacking that there is. I mean, damage wise, not necessarily survivability, but that's a different story. You're right.
This is softcore. It doesn't matter.
So yeah, exactly. Who cares about surviving? You know, I'll just damage them to death. It's fine. So yeah, like this trash unique that I used to use back in the day is now can be really lifted up with a single prophecy that does not cost much. So
I want to highlight a comment in chat from Abububu. I'd like to see the league uniques that created new playstyles that were also relevant to the league itself. Anointable blight items, darkness running for delve, breach rings that aren't trash. This is the sentiment that I was kind of building towards. I was like, make stuff that integrates with your league, at the very least stays relevant during the league that it's introduced, and possibly synergizes with whatever meta changes that you're making, whether it be ascendancies, new skills, etc. Like that, like I want to see more synergy. I think that's what I'm looking for. And maybe they're capable of doing this and hope to do this in the future. Like maybe pandemic year is really messing with that, but I have a lot of hope. That's my hope, though. Okay. We kind of inserted an additional topic that I didn't have planned, which was talking about items, but feels relevant to the game because, as Chris Well himself says, items make an ARPG what it is, and items make PoE what it is.
we like them.
I've changed the order of the rest of the few topics that I had left because I called them tidbits in the previous intro. What I want to talk about now is the legal launch reveal. This is a new approach to revealing a league, doing the live stream on Twitch, and the like format of this content and stuff. And the like Chris himself posted on Reddit looking for feedback on this format. And I really, really, really wanted to hear from you girls on what you thought of this format, how you change it, what you'd like to see more of or less of, whether you think it works for a challenge league introduction, not just an expansion. Does anybody want to start off?
I mean, it certainly built up a lot of hype, right? You have a bunch of people watching it at the same time. I I think personally, while I very much enjoyed it, I was immediately afterwards like, where is the stuff posted so I can go rewatch it and slow it down and figure out what's actually going on here?
Mm.
Uh, so I definitely enjoyed it. I think it was too fast, maybe not enough breaks in between to digest stuff that's going on. I felt like I was trying to take notes, which was
Mm.
stupid. I should have just waited for the recordings. But I don't know if it would really work for leagues because I don't know if they'd have enough to talk about. It was basically, besides the Q&A, it was like 30 minutes. I think it'd be kind
Yeah.
of weird
How long
personally.
how long is the material that Nini normally produce? Isn't it like 15 minutes for a league announcement? Like
I
when
don't
you
know, 'cause it's
combine
usually
trailer
like
and
the trailer, and then there's like a tiny mechanics breakdown, and then Ziggy usually has his like follow-up video, which is like a little bit of a like a deeper dive into the mechanics breakdown, and that's usually it, aside from any sort of like teasers, trailers, FAQs, or otherwise that we get. Like it's not. It's usually trickled out over time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And do you guys
I
prefer the trickle out over time for Challenge League?
For this
All I want.
specifically, like the double up, I think it's really good with this format because, like, honestly, when we were sitting there just like chatting as the countdown was ticking down, like, I had the same like ball of snakes in my stomach, like excitement with like the way I felt about ExileCon and that way that counting down too. Like, it just felt incredible, like to be a part of it because you knew you were a part of something bigger and like everyone was sitting and watching this very same thing. You had your community with you or what have you. So I think like for larger content reveals, like it definitely merits the amount of effort that went into this for sure. I know it was kind of a burden on them as far as getting it ready on top of everything else, but I think it was really worth it. I mean, I can't speak to their metrics, and they're gonna have to go through it on their side and make sure like the press and everything like that was all worth the extra consideration and efforts. But like as a player, not even as a streamer, because it was fun to restream it, but just as somebody that's like plays and loves PoE, I have been more excited and more rekindled after this announcement than others,
Mm.
because of that level of involvement. And I think my favorite part of it too was still the personal touch. Like the thing that blew me away about ExileCon was finally like seeing all the people that work on the game I love talk about how much they love the game and how excited they are. And that had a bit of that back. And if I had to change anything at all, it would be more of those sort of things and moments maybe interplaced with it, like trailer commentary, dev commentary, Q&A, etc. Like kind of like maybe stretch it out even a little bit further. Like I don't say it needs to be like 2 hours or anything like that, but I feel like there's definitely like other things that they could have covered during it too to kind of like round out that experience.
See, I mean, well, let's get Vel's opinion and I'll give you all mine.
Well, I personally, the once a year for the like the extra expansion to their Atlas announcement and stuff. Like, yeah, I like this format. I would like to be here once a year and definitely see that. But because I have a weird sleeping schedule, I never catch a lot of these things live, so I just go back and watch it on YouTube anyways, and that's kind of just like my experience with it regardless. Right? So it's like even this one, I was sleeping. I slept through it because it wasn't at a good time for me. It's like right in the middle of when I have to sleep. So, like literally like smack dab in like where I'd be at the 4-hour mark of my sleep. So I was just yeah. So unfortunately I had to go to YouTube and go and rewatch the VOD and stuff like that. But I love like if for a once a year announcement, it does feel special for all of us, right? Like it's really nice to have something like this. Like even if we don't get a con, just to have the developer come and talk to you, and even, I mean, even the chance to get some wings, right? Like that was really nice of them. They didn't have to do that, but just a chance for people to get some wings if they're there listening and I don't think there was no chat questions, but chat can talk amongst themselves of what they think about, and it's like it's really nice
Chat
for us all to just get together.
Sort of ask questions during the Q&A. It was really hard to do.
Yeah.
I think if they want to do Q&A, they do that program that they use for ExileCon, where it was kind of like Reddit. You could post it in the specific like panel thing, and then people could upvote the questions that they wanted asked or downvote them if they didn't think they were relevant.
That seems really good.
I like that
because the chat is too like spamming
fast
of the
and ridiculous.
It was too
Drops.
fast, and it was just too concerned with drops.
Drops,
Drop,
two cans,
drop,
and
drop,
drops.
Claim drop. Drop, please. Drops.
Just drops for days.
Yeah, and I think like
Oh, man.
your very suitable workaround would just be linked to this. This is the Q&A question area. Ziggy or whoever, like, it doesn't have to be Ziggy who runs them. Is the look? I love the man. People had, you know, a range of reviews of how that content went. Most of it was pretty favorable. I did see some hot takes who were like, Ziggy is irrelevant, etc. And I was like,
whoa,
he does content
That
for
person
every
can
league
just
reveal.
enjoy being wrong because they're wrong.
They're
Yeah. What the hell?
they're just mad because they don't get to be there and ask the questions. You know, they want to ask questions.
but as far as like, you know, like I look at this and think of different ways that you could produce it and see if you could improve upon or, you know, like change or iterate on the experience. And like, I think there's some ways to make it really low maintenance and still be able to do like a live stream every 3 months wouldn't be that bad, in my opinion. I don't think it would have been. Like if you just have like, this is the trailer and then pre-recorded content that we've already sorted out for you. It doesn't have to be live.
They just need to add more padded content. I think BK's idea of more personal like interviews with people who worked on it would be perfect for that.
And then you just don't do it live. You just stack up the videos, and then you could even get a streamer to host it remotely and bridge the different pieces of content together with like an adequate amount of pause. And that would
more pauses.
Yep. And I think I mean I like posted a lot of stuff on the Chris thread, but I'm also coming up with great stuff now that I'm talking to you. Well, I think it's great anyway. But I got so we only saw the trailer once when you watch the live stream in real time. You saw the trailer at the start, and I was like, okay, but we have 2 different segments that we're going to, and if someone is tuning in and they weren't able to be there at the time it started, these bridging periods are a great time to replay that trailer. Not to mention, I had a massive issue with the music, like the in-between music, and this probably be a biggest issue for Noodle and BK and anyone who was there an hour before it started. Like, was it the same song over and over and over again? Because it was when I tuned in, just waiting like 10 minutes.
I was doing leveling practice until like 10 minutes till, and then we just kept talking over the 10-minute countdown until it was time.
Okay, you didn't notice then.
I don't know if it was different, like ambient wah sounds.
Yeah,
but
it was the
like
same fucking song. It was literally like a 2-minute song on repeat.
It was like that at ExileCon though too. So I mean, we can't fault them if they thought the formula was right when they have a sample size of 1. I think maybe providing that as feedback is good.
They have Camille's entire.
They have all of his music. I just think if you got an hour to fill, just play everything of his. You've got to wait, play everything of his.
The only audio
box and goes like boop. Great.
The only audio blender I heard was Ziggy coming into Discord and being like, "Hey."
I mean, of course, everybody provided feedback on that, and like, I'm sure they'll try and figure out a way to. I mean, like, I have several ideas of how to avoid that kind of thing happening again. And yeah, that was the
only
hot
time
mic
I saw
thing.
the chat change from drops to
hot mic.
Hot mic.
Yeah.
Tell him.
How many Discord messages in that like 10 seconds do you think he got?
100.
I don't want to be his Discord account right now. And streamer mode. Funny. Chris needs to use streamer mode.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. You're on the internet. Yes, indeed, I am.
I feel like now I don't know this, but I just like I don't know him at all. But just the energy I get, I feel like Chris is just nervous. You know, then you forget these things.
Yeah. I'm
feel
so
like
I'm
I don't know the man. He could be supremely confident in it, and he's like, I'm not nervous at all. What the hell, you know? But it just feels like it, you know? Yeah. Never remember stream mode.
yeah. No, I mean, I just yeah. Uh, I I I think that there's ways to do it where if you do the live stream every 3 months and then the league one, you just pack it with more content because a longer stream is always better.
It'd be a cool opportunity to have more personalized content as well with people who work on the game. I think that'd be a good integration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the
The
people that were in charge of maybe coming up with the ideas behind the Atlas having, its ascendancy points now, like can introduce that system. And then the people that work primarily on ritual could introduce that system instead. Because that was my favorite part, was like
Mhm.
I'd only known them by like their tags on Reddit, like when, Mark would reply to certain like skill gems or something like that, or like Roy would reply here and there. Like that's the only time you ever like saw them, but to then actually put faces with everything was really cool. And
Yeah.
then to see all of their little either fidgeting mannerisms or the fact that Chris can finish anywhere between 25 and 50 sentences in a single breath. I mean, you learn these quirks about them and it's wonderful. It makes them human. And that's like a really endearing part of being connected to this company
It's
is like
something
those
unique
moments.
about GGG. They really do like even the changes to how community team is engaging with us. There is still a sense of like there is a human behind this team, and I mean the other side of the coin, like the pushback would be, well, now they'd have someone to direct their ire at, and that is a problem
Yeah.
in some form.
Yeah,
In
well, they're
forums and
already
stuff.
yeah,
But
they're already on that boat. Some of them.
but the more work you do to humanize people, doesn't that sort of help combat that? That was Bex's.
Yeah, because then you have people saying, "No, that guy's just a normal guy. Don't be a dick," right? You have other people
Yeah,
from the other
you've
side just
got
being like,
because you
"Don't."
need
Yeah.
crowd policing. You need the crowd to police itself. You don't need
Hmm.
police, which is moderators or whatever. Like you need that.
Yeah. Yeah, you need the other part of the community to come in so that it's not just because you're right, they do get they put a face or they put a name to like one aspect of the game they don't like, and then they just pop off like assholes, right? Like it
Mm.
Yeah.
happens. People just get mad about one thing, and then they're like, you know what? And I don't like you and everything you stand for, and you're like, yo, I just made
Yeah,
this
they're
one
like,
thing,
fuck
right?
you in particular.
So
Yeah,
a really
yeah, you're
lovely
like, come on.
example of
Yeah, I
humanizing
guess I was
people.
just so excited about the release of everything that I was temporarily living in a world where assholes didn't exist.
God, what a world that is.
But did
It
you
was
guys
pleasant
see?
for about 5 minutes.
Did you guys see
Mhm.
Camille's little selfie yesterday?
No, I did not.
Oh, on Twitter, he shared a selfie of himself and he said, like, the music from Ritual has my voice as an instrument. And I think
Cool.
that, like, no one told him to do that or, like, as part of a marketing strategy or anything like that. And that is a tiny touch of how, like, humanizing and being front facing, if the people are comfortable with it, can really be a big service to like marketing of this game and helping people understand. So yeah, like I think more of this. There are so many ways that you can expand upon it. Like this format was fine. I don't think it was wrong at any point. I think the format was like, if anything, quite perfect, but it can be built upon. I think you can make the launch even bigger by pre-recording content and like splicing that in. And I think you can make challenge leagues padded by other pre-recorded content. And like, yeah, I just think that it's got a lot of potential because you'd still have the ExileCon opportunity as well. You still have the opportunity to like have your league thing, but like that is for PoE 2. That is like we're ready, beta's launched, that's kind of thing. And then you have like moderate like middle grounds between them. And the reason that I think maybe it's worth considering for like middle leagues is because the amount of like effort you put into marketing something, if it's done well, and this was done well, should probably directly correlate to how much people uptake it, like are willing to play it, right?
I guess we'll see, like, if they feel like this really helped boost, initial players. Maybe we'll see more of this in the future for not just expansions.
Yeah.
I could say I felt more hype just seeing that like him sitting there explaining stuff to me. Just like, ooh, the guy who
Yeah.
runs the company is telling me stuff.
Yeah.
you know, I'm
It
like,
was a
I'm,
lot of
I'm
fun.
excited. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, and that's probably a good point to segue into like MTX. The supporter packs were revealed, and we also have our rewards revealed. And we could actually have this stuff up on screen if I sort out the top.
I love portals, and I will just say the Faithsworn portal is like the coolest portal I've seen in a long time.
So cool. Did you already buy it?
No, but I have the page open and I've got like a little trigger finger here. Like,
I keep looking at it and I'm like, maybe in a month.
I like
Maybe in
the
a
art.
month I'll get it.
I guess we'll look
Yeah,
at
the
it.
armor is nice.
I'm so excited. I really like it.
The
Okay,
armor
so
is
we're
sick.
looking at supporter packs now, the ritual supporter packs. Oh, okay, let's do you guys have what I'm showing, like the actual page?
I see.
Yep.
Yeah, I have it open.
We've started making a name for ourselves looking at supporter packs and MTX and commentating on this. But it really is part of the visual and how they make money and all that stuff. So I guess it's relevant to talk about. I haven't looked at these, so I'm reacting. This is my new reaction thing. This little pet thing is kind of cute. I mean, demony, but I like.
I will say
What
it's
does he have?
interesting.
It looks like
he
a
has
chaos
the ball of heads, I think.
Yeah, but like, is supposed to be a super exalt? There's a lot of faces on it.
Yeah, that's the double exalt.
Wait.
Maybe even triple. I don't know. It's hard to tell the scale of the little demon animal. But I think it's weird that they. I don't know if it's weird, but they don't have any armor or character or weapon items in any of the 30 packs.
Oh my god, you're right. One of them's just a portal or a pet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the yeah, look at that portal though. That's legit.
Look at that. Aww.
I love them.
Yeah.
They remind me of
that portal is
like totems, and I got vibes.
And the way they pop up too, like you can't really see it here, but the way they pop up out of the ground is really, it's very smooth. They have
I lost my
water
shit.
coming out. Ugh, looks so good.
It's
Wait, let's try it again. Oh wow.
damn, they look so cool.
They're clean, dude. So good.
They are clean. I feel like I'm not gonna accidentally. So the metamorph portal is so big that sometimes I accidentally click on it and I don't want to.
That with so many portals, they're so big, and you're just like, okay, there's an item near it. No, I went the portal. No.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That's the better 30 pack. Honestly, that pack's just better.
I'm a fan. But I really like the core packs as well, and now I have issues.
I know.
But
I want the harvest pack and this, and I'm like, but
listen, if you buy this, it goes towards you getting closer to the harvest pack. So eventually, if you buy this pack,
influence.
I'm just saying
they don't work that way.
It does. It does.
It says
if
from
you buy
the
this
same
pack,
series here.
It trust me, I do it every league. I swear to God.
It
like
says,
you bought all this
note
stuff.
that the core and ritual packs are a different series, so you can't upgrade from one of these to the other type. It says that at every single one of them.
I'm gonna buy it right now and prove that it's wrong.
Now we need your screen share.
Oh boy.
Where's the intervention?
Am I 800 tabs? Am I 800 tabs? Listen, I shouldn't.
No, I'm just kidding. You should totally buy. I'm gonna buy this one, but even if it doesn't go towards it. I'm gonna buy the Elite Faithsworn. I really like the armor. I love the portal. I like the character effect. Usually the character effects are so gaudy.
Yeah,
like
but this one's really nice.
Circle around you, and you're glowing. just
A little bit
you
wet.
can't even see your own armor anymore. This one's nice. Did you just say it looks wet?
I said it's a little bit wet.
It looks so wet. Oh.
There's like a little it looks like a little water spray. Is like
It is. I think it's like the tombstones. I don't know exactly what the portal is, but they have water coming out as well. So I guess like a fountain wall. I don't know what they're supposed to be. They have water coming out. It's a water character effect. I like it.
looks like a spiritual water. Because it's
Ooh,
like
yeah.
really pale. This one's
Yeah,
very
it has the orbs.
not my style. This is big, bulky man
Which
with
one?
armor.
The renegade? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not.
too thick. Like if I was a marauder every league, yeah, maybe because he's thick. It's thick thickness. You double.
Oh, I
up.
wonder what it looks like on the other girls.
All right, well maybe this time it didn't upgrade with it, but that's okay because guess what? It's cool as hell.
Thanks for testing that. For
I'm
me,
so
Val.
glad that we have
welcome.
a resolution on this because last
I
time you said this
guarantee
to me,
it
I
right
was
now,
like,
and I'm
sure
happy
you're
with my
wrong.
purchase. It's okay. I'm gonna live with this for the next few months because I was gonna buy it in a month or two anyways. So I just did it earlier than I wanted to, and it's fine. It's fine.
All right. So
That's all.
the other thing I have for us to look at is the ritual path of the challenge rewards, because this is kind of a nice topic.
Yes.
So we got glowing sword things. I'm always so excited about these. Kappa.
Glowing. Oh yeah.
Okay, the candles kind of look a little bit.
Listen, I don't like
I know.
anything where there's fire near my hands that's unrealistic. Or
Or
is this
not
magic
your fire. Is this
Yeah,
my fire?
Yeah, if this isn't my fire, I don't know about it. This though,
Yeah, I think we
only
go
want
back.
the hideout.
So this is a big deal. Apparently, I mean, I agree that it's a big deal. We have never had a hideout as a reward before. I was not wearing my glasses when I watched this morning, and I was like, whoa, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I was like, what is he carrying around with him? I didn't even realize that the area that we were in was a new area.
Yeah. Look at that little hut. It's like perfect. Is that bones all on the ground? I don't even care.
The swamps of Dagobah.
Yeah. It's so perfect. It's exactly what it is.
It's evil swamps of Dagobah.
Ooh, spooky. It's the only one
I'm
where I
into it.
just want the 36 and I don't want either of the two going up to it.
I don't actually, no, honestly, I like the ritual circle thing. I just could pass on the candles.
It's just a little too
Yeah.
much for me. It's distracting. I'm gonna be like, oh, those candles, are those enemies? Oh, right. And then 5 minutes later, same thing. Like, oh no, what's happening? Oh,
Where's
right.
the
candles.
zoom in on him? Okay, so in this part, I don't know if you guys watch The Expanse, but I've been watching The Expanse recently,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
and like bleeding in zero gravity, the little
Yeah.
blobs that
Yeah.
come up off of it remind me of that.
Mhm.
Totally.
That's one of the many things that makes that show so cool. It's just the little space details they add on to it. You're like,
Yeah. So yeah,
What science fiction with actually thinking things through?
yeah,
yeah, right?
yeah.
It's weird.
As a Star
Wow.
Trek fan, we don't think anything through. We just have magic items and it's good.
Mhm.
Before I
It's the
switch off of
future,
this
future,
scene,
future.
is there anything else that we should look at while we have the spectator scene open?
I think that was it.
I think those were the main things. Is those two packs, those two, the one really good one and the one. I
Yeah.
feel like that's
Somebody
always the
likes
case
it.
with packs. Somebody's like, "Damn, I've always wanted to be that thick," like they're in. I've always wanted this demon pet to be thick.
Yeah,
like
the
this.
demon with a chain ball of heads.
Yeah, I don't mind that little
Super
demon
adult.
pet thing there. Honestly, I don't mind him.
The pet's all right. I just don't want the armor set, and I'm not gonna pay the 30 for the pet. But I'm gonna get that 60
No.
pack of the other one. I like it a lot.
I
It'll
mean,
match a lot of things I have.
the 30 of that pet, it's like you pay $5 for the pet, $25 for points. You get a thing, and it's like if you want a pet, there you go, right? Because you still get 250 points. So it's like
Yeah, that's true.
$25. So it's not that bad. It's not a bad deal necessarily,
But
but I
compared
just
to getting the 250 points and for $30 with a portal,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I
not a
just
great
can't see it.
deal.
Yeah, the pet should have come with something else. It's just too much on its own, or too little.
At least
Sorry,
like a
on its own.
character or weapon effect or something.
Exactly.
Well, we've come to our last sort of little tiny topic, which is the alpha testers are not eligible for race rewards. One, and
I had no
possibly
idea.
anything else that Brittleknee or someone wants to talk about with racing, because there is a Havoc event starting tomorrow.
Yep.
Is it?
Tomorrow is the 2-day Havoc event. It's Havoc Blitz preseason, which is basically a dress rehearsal for
League
possibly
start.
another event down the road in 3.13.
Oh, okay.
But I think we've had a series of League Start events, and I'm not privy to what is coming. Because in the time that we've been streaming, there's been an announcement from Ziz that says like something is coming essentially, and he's going to be announcing further details later on. So we'll
later
all have to
today.
tune in. But we have had a series of League Start events, and now that this is the first serious league that there's been like actual, extensive alpha testing done because things were finished on time. I mean, I feel like he was just trying to put out fires before the rest of the announcements come. If anything, like just trying to cover bases and cover asses is what it felt like to me. And I mean, it makes perfect sense too in some ways because anyone that I guess you have to operate on the assumption that the people in alpha do not talk to other people in alpha and keep it all a secret. Um, if this method is supposed to work, but it's hard to control that information regardless. Like even if an alpha tester is somebody that is not going to participate in a race anyways, they could still very well share that information to somebody else that will do well in that race. Not to mention there's all the standard practice that people can do if it's like a league start boss fight, they practice the event in standard really quickly. Stuff like that has always happened in league start races regardless. So there's very very little they can actually limit here as far as like anyone getting like a head start or like some sort of advantage. But it's better, I think, as a company to like try and cover bases and asses as mentioned before than to, you know, just let that slide under the radar and then people later come up with like, oh well, he only won because he was beta testing, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
I think what I took away from this was if that precludes a lot of people from playing, then does that mean they need to open up alpha testing to some not newer players, but people who weren't alpha testing before, people who probably have no intention of racing? Hey, you've been playing for a long time, and during the Q&A where they discussed this, the main requirement was people who had been long-term players of the game. So you would actually be a very good candidate.
Bug reports. That's what they said.
Shit, I've only ever done like 2. I'm in trouble.
I only started doing bug reports in Heist League, and now I know how to do them. I didn't know that there was like a screenshot button and stuff.
I think I'd only done one before, and I did at least like 3 or 4 in Heist League. That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, I hope everybody knows how to do bug reports. I've actually forgotten. I'm gonna need chat to tell me when we have league launch.
I mean, I think it's a good step for transparency, right? Because as BK said, like you don't want people to be able to point fingers at someone and say, oh, they have this advantage that isn't explicitly known, and that's why they were able to succeed. So I think
the only preventative measures they can take are the people that have direct provable ties to that information. Like the information can still spread. There's NDAs, but
it still does.
People talk. I mean, that's just the way it is. But at least they can have like, as far as these people that are under these contracts, we are prohibiting them from winning prizes. Like you can still race if you want to, but if there's big prize money on the table or certain MTX or something like that, you don't get that. And so, like I said, I think it's just more or less like covering, that whole legal side or whatever the implication may be, more so than anything else. Like I thought it was a bit odd, and then I saw the announcement while we were streaming from Ziz, and I was like, okay, now that makes perfect sense. Like I didn't understand the divergence and the need to like explain this to everyone. I was like, okay.
I was like,
and then
oh,
like,
cool.
oh, all right, so there's going to be a league start event of some sort. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Things like that are pretty telling. It's kind of odd. I feel like they could have just tweeted it and like announced it as a post or something. Like it didn't. I don't know if it needed the the spectacle of being included during a very conscious spectacle effort.
But then maybe it lets people know, like, wait, I might be able to get in on alpha testing.
Yeah.
Right?
It
So
definitely
maybe
did
it's more
that.
like
Like, I
enjoying,
think
oh,
a lot of people were like, I volunteer as tribute. And then Chris got
I
like a
will
shit ton of
volunteer as
emails going,
tribute. Bug report
Yeah,
away.
everyone is going to volunteer as tribute until you realize the amount of work that goes into that kind of shit. Like all the behind the
It's
scenes
true.
shit, no matter what, is huge.
It is. It is. There's a lot. There's a lot to like
Even just
ensuring
like
that you're
mid
playtesting.
range, yeah, like even just mid range like race organization is like 40 hours of planning on my part.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh yeah, Biggie's right. It was an ad. Now people will do bug reports. That's right, because we just see the bug and we're like, meh.
Maybe
that's
I could be
probably a
alpha.
great thing.
Yeah. Good.
Seems like a win-win.
Yeah, it's definitely a win-win, I'd say. Get people actually filling stuff out and then maybe find people among them that are willing and competent to do the job that is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have covered a huge number of topics today. Closing
Yeah.
remarks will be what is something that you're really, really excited about, and what's something that really worries you about 3.13? And we'll start with BK.
I'm really excited for the various skill gems that are getting a retune and some of our hashes of the Harvest League itself. I was a very big, like, naysayer as far as that this amount of crafting was absolutely necessary to the game, arguing instead that gear shouldn't be a determining factor for a build to be relevant or not, but that they need to go back to like at a skill gem or even passive tree or ascendancy level and rework things from there. And that's what we're seeing. Like gear should always be like the scaling, the icing on top, that thing extra that gets you there. So the fact that they're going back and retuning a lot of these other skills, 40 of them, I think is a real treat, and I'm looking forward to seeing which ones that they paid attention to and maybe playing some of these things that maybe weren't possible before.
Belle?
Lots of bosses. Let's go. Oh my god. Let's kill them all. I'm really excited. I'm gonna get one shot. I just know it. But also, like I just know it. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I love bossing, so it's just like this is the ultimate challenge. But in a bit. But I am very concerned about the excessive bloat that is currently in the game already, and the extra with ritual, and there's a lot going on. So I'm a little
Wait.
concerned about that.
BK,
The
did you say
ritual
what you were
stones
worried
that you put
about?
in your map thing, etc.
BK? Did you say what you were
sorry?
worried about?
Oh no.
Your downside, your con.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't.
whoops.
Yeah.
My downside is that people will see all of these bossing content and instead of embracing the ability to explore other build ideas or work in defensive layers, will play their same like zoomy shooty builds, get like fucking laid out 10 times and then quit the league.
Yeah.
Valid. And Noodle.
Well, I mean, I think anybody could guess that I'm most excited to learn more about the Eldritch worlds and Maven and all of that kind of lore stuff, and to do the Maven boss fight. I really can't wait to see it. I think all of the design for her just makes me so excited to learn more about that world and the interconnection with Elder and other things we've seen before, and potentially Harbinger. And I really, really hope that they just like confirm that I was right about Harbingers coming back because of the Elder being gone. Please. Oh man. And I don't really have like a big downside. I don't think that there's anything I'm super worried about, but I do see the potential with Ritual League and the tribute points to have like an economy bloat, depending on how easy it is to get some really crazy items or really crazy currency with the tribute points. We saw that in Heist, and I just don't, well, obviously, we don't know what the balance is like, so I could see potential for it to just be a little overtuned, undertuned, just wonky as heck. So,
I guess I'll say what I'm excited about. I am also excited about Maven. Like the Maven was I'm so ready to try and do my best to try and actually get to fight her, which is, I don't think I was trying that hard with Cirrus, and I again, my similar worry is like, I hope that these two Atlas systems actually synergize when they don't feel like roadblocks to each other, or you know, one doesn't feel like roadblock to the new content, because that's all I care about right now. And then also Heist, the Heist implementation is worrying me. And that's everything that I've got to say today. So thank you everybody for watching Baited Expectations. It's been a very long one. If you managed to sit through all of it, that's really wonderful. If you enjoyed it, please make sure that you support the wonderful people who are a part of it. We've got Velyna, KittenCatNoodle, Brittleknee, and myself, piebypie, where the content is being shared. Let's all say goodbye, and we'll see you guys in 3 weeks, maybe sooner if we can get one in, reacting to the new content, or possibly what we might do going into it. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.